That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
I'm saying Lauren introduced me to Puff.
Oh, got you.
I mean, I knew Puff, but it was more of a personal relationship after, you know, we was at Cassie's birthday.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like Nip came to me and said, I want you to mentor me. You know, I want to get into real estate. I want you to teach me all your, you know what I mean, like your business secrets. You know what I'm saying? I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up. And then on his last album, people do not know this. Somebody tried to jerk me, but I fixed it. I actually am one of the executive producers of Nipsey Hussle's last album.
Victory Lap.
Yeah, Victory Lap.
Katt Williams just lit up the industry again. He's not done pulling back the curtain on all the wild mess that's been happening behind closed doors. This time, word on the street is that Katt's got some serious tea about the real link between Diddy and Nipsey Hussle, and it ain't looking clean. We still don't know exactly how Diddy's trial is gonna shake out, but one thing's for sure, some of those wild theories that have been floating around, they're finally getting some light, especially the ones tied to what really went down with Nipsey, and now people are starting to ask what kind of trap was Diddy really running? What pulled Nipsey into it? And how does Katt Williams know so much about it? If you've been paying attention, then you've probably heard Lauren London's name come up in Diddy's federal case. And yep, folks are seriously confused. Why is she even caught in the middle of this madness?
Hook up with the biggest rapper at the time. Everything's great. By the way, isn't she? Lauren is the one that introduced Nip to Diddy. Diddy couldn't even get to Nip, even though he had ties in L.A. It was Lauren that brought Nip to him.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Lauren wasn't just some innocent bystander. She allegedly knew all about Diddy's shady behavior for years, not just with the business moves, but with how he was treating Cassie behind the scenes too. And to add another layer to the madness, some folks been whispering that Lauren might have even been one of Diddy's girls at one point, just like Young Miami. So let's get this straight. After everything Lauren knew about Diddy, she still introduced Nipsey to him? That's wild. And don't think this is just Jaguar Wright stirring the pot. Nipsey himself confirmed it. Remember that time he was on The Breakfast Club? He straight up said, "Lauren's the one who introduced me to Puff." Like, no hesitation, and ever since then, fans and folks in the streets been giving Lauren some serious side-eye. People ain't buying the whole ride-or-die girlfriend image anymore. They're saying she played a way bigger role than anyone thought. Could she have been placed in Nipsey's life to keep tabs on him? Some are whispering that she was actually Diddy's eyes and ears, watching Nipsey's every move, making sure he didn't step out of line.
What y'all doing? Lauren! Cassandra! What are you doing? Want some blue dot?
That's a whole different kind of loyalty if you ask me, but it don't stop there. That bond between Nipsey and Diddy, it got real deep real fast. In one interview, Diddy even said, "Nipsey wanted to learn from me, how I did my business, how I made my moves." Let that sink in for a second. Now fast forward to Nipsey's tragic death, and the streets haven't stopped asking questions. Folks are digging back into his ties with Diddy, wondering if that so-called influence did more harm than good. And just when you think it can't get more twisted, here comes Katt Williams throwing gasoline on the fire. Katt's not biting his tongue at all. He straight up said that artists who mess with Diddy always end up paying a heavy price. Just take a look around. Cassie, Meek Mill, YK Osiris, French Montana, Craig Mack, Danity Kane. The list goes on. And all of them, they've got horror stories tied to Diddy that'll make your skin crawl. People are starting to call out that whole Diddy mentorship game as something way darker than it appears. It's not just business. Some believe it's a trap dressed up as opportunity. And now with old clips resurfacing of Diddy and Nipsey in the studio together, things are looking even more suspicious. There's one video making rounds where Diddy's seen licking his lips and zooming in on Nipsey like he's sizing him up. Meanwhile, Nipsey just chillin', vibing to the beat, completely unaware of what's going down behind him. That footage alone got people side-eyeing everything. And don't forget, Katt already told us he turned down $50 million 4 times just to keep his soul intact. He said Diddy tried to pull him into that same weird energy, but Katt wasn't having it. He walked away clean, no strings attached.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did.
Even Terrence Howard came out with a story that raised eyebrows. He said Diddy first approached him like it was going to be a straight-up professional thing. But that vibe shifted fast. Terrence peeped the energy and dipped before it could go left. Now people are starting to piece things together, and it's looking shady. There's talk that Diddy might have tried to make a move on Nipsey, and when Nipsey didn't play along, the whole dynamic got tense real quick. And let's not ignore what's been floating around about Lauren and Diddy either. The street's been screaming. Old photos pop back up showing Lauren and Diddy looking way too close for comfort. And guess who's in the background? Nipsey, just standing there, looking like a third wheel in what was supposed to be his relationship. That image hit different now. Then after Nipsey's death, Lauren sat down with Angie Martinez and said something that really threw folks off. She said it was Diddy who helped her get through the heartbreak. Okay, cool. But then she dropped a quote that had people doing double takes. She said Diddy told her, "Look, boo, you have shown everybody what it looks like to hold a man down and to love him. Now show them what it looks like when it all crumbles. That's your responsibility." Lauren casually dropped a detail that had people doing a double take. She said Diddy used to call her Boo, the exact same nickname Nipsey used for her. Now, why would Diddy be using a name that was that personal between Lauren and Nipsey? Well, unless there was something else going on between them. That little slip sent alarms ringing everywhere. See, Nipsey was out here moving independently, away from all that Hollywood mess, carving his own lane. But Lauren? She had connections. She had access. And once she brought him into Diddy's circle, that's when everything started going left. Former bad boy insider Gene Deal even came out to warn folks. Messing with the wrong people in the industry can get real dangerous, real quick. He mentioned something Nipsey once told him in confidence. He said he wanted his next project to have the same vibe as Biggie's Life After Death album. Now let that sink in. Life After Death, the album that dropped right after Biggie was taken out. That ain't just a coincidence, that's a message. And according to Gene, that was Nipsey's biggest mistake, saying that out loud while Diddy was listening. Because once Diddy had his hands in the mix, it was a wrap. Nipsey stopped showing up at the studio and started spending more time at Diddy's mansion instead. And that's when things really started shifting. It was like Diddy had Nipsey in a chokehold, and the change was clear.
Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I'm playing the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at it, like waiting. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to f*** you. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you notice to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers coming to make the approach, and you punch them in the mouth, threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. You know, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room.
Suddenly, Nipsey looked drained, worn out, like the fire in him had started to dim. Fans noticed the shift. This wasn't the same bold, sharp, stand-up leader they admired. Something was off, and the energy around him felt heavy. Now, let's be real. Diddy couldn't handle someone like Nipsey. He was too smart, too strong-minded, and too real to play the Hollywood game. Nipsey came from the streets with a mission, not a desire to be controlled. And that independence, it made him a problem for folks who thrive on pulling strings. Word is, Diddy may have had his eyes on Lauren behind Nipsey's back. Some even say he was just waiting for Nipsey to be out of the picture before making a move. But let's not forget, Diddy has never treated his women like royalty, no matter what he says in public. He had Cassie under lock and key for years, and the stories from that relationship, chilling. Then there's Kim Porter, the mother of his kids. She passed under mysterious circumstances after years of emotional strain, and people still whisper about the toll Diddy's manipulative ways took on her. And here's where it gets even darker, because people ain't just speculating no more. They're pointing out patterns, real ones. See, every time someone gets too close to Diddy and doesn't play by his rules, something bad always seems to follow. Whether it's careers crashing, personal lives falling apart, or worse, people vanishing from the spotlight completely. With Nipsey, it looked like the closer he got to Diddy, the more things started falling apart behind the scenes. It wasn't just about music or mentorship. There's talk that Diddy was trying to mold him, shape him into something else, something controllable. But Nipsey, he wasn't going for that. He wasn't built to be a puppet. So when he started pulling away, the tension got real, and just like that, boom, he was gone. Now, folks ain't saying Diddy did anything directly, but they're definitely saying there's more to the story. Too many eerie coincidences, too many red flags that nobody can ignore anymore. And Katt Williams, he's been yelling it from the rooftops. How this industry will chew you up if you don't play the game. He turned down the money, the fame, and the access because he knew the cost. And maybe Nipsey realized it too. But by then, it might have already been too late. So now everybody's watching Diddy real close, wondering how many more stories like this are buried under the surface, and how many people tried to break free, only to get swallowed by the same shadow they were trying to escape. When Biggie died, what did Diddy do? He dropped a Grammy-winning tribute and used that moment to launch his solo career. No hesitation, turned that tragedy into a spotlight move. Then when Kim Porter passed, Diddy rebranded himself as the heartbroken single dad, the so-called spiritual family first type. But behind all those sad posts, people knew he was still out here running wild. And when Nipsey was taken from us, same playbook. Diddy jumped online, posting heartfelt messages about Lauren London, talking healing, preaching legacy, as if he was part of that man's journey. But the truth? He slid into a moment he had no right to own. Every time someone powerful dies, Diddy somehow finds a way to center himself in the grief.
Now, you taking a spiritual person who's asking for something. He said, I wanted that same feel as life after death. That same feel was that Biggie got and he went on to sell about 10 million albums or 10 million copies. I was saying, you gotta watch what you say to demons, because it just might come true.
So now folks are asking the real question. Was he trying to carve out another legacy moment off of Nipsey's death? Word in the streets is Diddy saw Nipsey as a pawn, someone he could use to boost his own name. But even with all that manipulation, someone had to open the door. And a lot of people are pointing straight at Lauren. And let's not forget, Katt Williams saw this coming way before the headlines, way before the feds came knocking. He was warning us not just about the shady parties or sketchy contracts, but about setups, about blackmail, about traps hidden behind the glitz. Now the internet is buzzing with theories, and one user didn't hold back. They said it flat out, Lauren was set up to be with Nipsey by Diddy. That's a heavy claim, but it's got people thinking real different about how this whole thing played out. Let's not act like we forgot. Lauren thanked Puff at Nipsey's funeral, and that one moment, it keeps getting brought up as people start connecting the dots, trying to figure out if the truth has been hiding in plain sight this whole time. One online comment said it loud and clear. Diddy did what he did to Big, got on the album and planned his death to keep the money and royalties. That might sound wild to some, but with everything surfacing about Diddy's history, his control tactics, the violence, the manipulation, it's no surprise people are asking the tough questions now. And here's what's really got folks buzzing. Will Lauren ever testify? Could she take the stand and finally reveal whether she was caught in the middle or part of something way bigger? Some are even wondering, was Diddy involved in what happened to Nipsey? These ain't just rumors anymore. This is a full-on unraveling. And trust, it's far from over. So drop your thoughts down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Was Lauren a victim or a player in the game? Could there be more behind Nip's death than we were ever told? If you're here for the truth, the raw breakdowns, and the facts no one else wants to say, make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe, share this video, and we'll catch you in the next one.